Movie footage used in the kill count is owned entirely by the copyright holders. Dead Meat makes no claim of ownership and simply uses the footage for purposes of education, commentary, and criticism under fair use. Please support filmmakers and the art of filmmaking by watching Jurassic World in its entirety using the links in the description below. Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Jurassic World, released in 2015. Jurassic World is sort of a soft reboot of the Jurassic franchise that reintroduces it to a new generation. In it, John Hammond's dream has finally been realized, and Isla Nublar is home to a fully functional dinosaur amusement park. Jurassic World is a spectacle of a film, the very definition of a summer blockbuster. The theme park it features is comprehensively realized and chock full of pretty good-looking CGI dinosaurs. I love everything it does involving the park itself, from the SeaWorld-like Mosasaurus show down to those adorable sauropod helium balloons. But the movie loses me with pretty much everything else. It's mostly the characters that annoy me. They all feel like cheap stereotypes with about as much depth to them as a puddle in the desert. And I can't stand when a movie feels the need to constantly tell me how cool its lead hero is. Just have him be cool and shut up about it. Also, while I love a good callback, this movie leans way too heavily on nostalgia for the original in a very Force Awakens type way. But if you're all about big numbers, then Jurassic World is probably your favorite of the series, because when it comes to kills, it delivers. So let's get to them. The movie begins with a dinosaur egg cracking open to reveal a title card. But as that little CG raptor starts to push it real good, we'll go ahead and meet some annoying kids. Younger bro Gray and his swoopy-haired older bro Zach are the sons of Karen, the criminally underused Judy Greer, and Dunder Mifflin CFO Scott. The parents see their kids off at the airport without telling them the real shit going on here. They looking to get a divorce. And how does that play into the movie's story? That's a good question that I'm still waiting on an answer for. But Zach and Gray won't have to worry about that irrelevant domestic downfall as they head to Isla Nublar, making its return to the series after Sorna was the setting for JP's 2 and 3. Isla Nublar is now straight bumpin', cause it's the home to Jurassic World, a fully armed and operational amusement park. Hey, remember in the original when that epic John Williams score played the first time we saw a full dinosaur? Let's see how they use that music in this movie.
Let's go!
Dude, she said we had to wait.
I don't want to wait anymore!
Oh, so for like going out onto the hotel balcony? That's cool, I guess. It's a park out there through that green screen wall, and it is mostly CG. Zach and Gray's aunt is this pair of high heels played by Bryce Dallas Howard, who does all sorts of fun stuff. She says her character's name for the audience real naturally.
And I am Claire.
She says fun catchphrases directly to the camera.
Welcome to Jurassic World.
And she spells out the premise of the movie.
No one's impressed by a dinosaur anymore.
Wait, hold up. What the fuck? People have been writing Pirates of the Caribbean for 50 goddamn years, and you're telling me they're all of a sudden bored of seeing real-life dinosaurs? They're dinosaurs! I'm still excited about these plastic fucking toys, dude! Lucky for these nameless greedy investors, Claire's got a solution to all this dino fatigue. A genetically modified dinosaur named the Indominus Rex. B.D. Wong returns as Dr. Henry Wu to explain that the I-Rex was designed with the DNA of multiple animals, because everyone knows that that kind of genetic crockpotting has never backfired before. But enough about scientific arrogance, let's get a good look at this park. This place is downright freaking awesome. The centerpiece is the pyramidal Samsung Innovation Center, which seems like exactly the type of place that would exist in a modern-day dino park, full of fun stuff for kids and learning screens that even feature a cameo from my homeboy, Mr. DNA. In the Innovation Center, the kids finally meet up with their Aunt Claire, who gives them some spending money and an Irish babysitter named Zara to watch over them, since Claire's way too much of a working woman to have it all. A career and a family? Get out of here. She leaves her nephews and hustles off to the park command center, where a couple of fun characters are hiding out. Laurie Crothers, played by Jake Johnson, and Vivian Krill, played by Ho-Ho the Elf, Lauren Lapkus. I like them because they're funny and seem like real people, and also because Lowry echoes my feelings about this franchise.
That first park was legit.
Again, JP sequels, maybe stop always reminding us of the original and just try to focus on your own merits. Claire tells them that a new branding deal has just gone through for the park.
Verizon Wireless presents the Indominus Rex.
Which would be a funny joke if this movie wasn't also actually a commercial for stuff like Samsung and Mercedes. Hanging a lampshade on it doesn't mean it's not product placement, and it's not like that was a Wayne's World caliber joke.
Contract or no, I will not bow to any sponsor.
Claire hops into a helicopter with park owner Simon Masrani, played by the effortlessly cool Irfan Khan. The backstory here is that the Masrani Corporation bought InGen and now owns all these dinosaurs, even though Mr. Masrani himself is less concerned with bottom lines and more concerned with stating the obvious.
We're flying!
Yes, you are, Simon. Very good. He flies the chopper over to the Indominus Rex pen to check out the new park asset, and it's looking to be a total beast. It needs extra high walls to keep it in, it's already tried to break through the glass windows of the paddock, and it's got thermal vision to see heat patterns, like a predator. Because of how dangerous this dinosaur is, Masrani tells Claire that they need a super badass to come in and help with it. Enter Star-Lord Owen Grady, played by box office darling Chris Pratt. Grady's a Navy vet who has developed a relationship with a quadrant of velociraptors, led by Blue, who's just the cutest little dinosaur. He shows how much he can control the dinos when a younger employee falls into the pen with them. Grady rushes to the rescue and holds the raptors at bay with some stern words and outstretched arms. He can only control them so much though, and when he finally tumbles back out of the gate, they end up snapping at him. Still, Grady's boss Vic Hoskins, played by Vincent D'Onofrio, thinks that the raptors have been trained well enough to be used as weapons of war in an effort to save the lives of soldiers. Kinda like drones, but you know, with an appetite for humans. He warns Grady that InGen has been looking to do this for quite some time, and that its eventuality is inevitable.
This is gonna happen. With or without you boys.
Grady lives out in a metal trailer, and he's working on his hog like a real cool guy when Claire comes to find him wearing her best Commander Krennic cosplay. Wait, hold on, I forget. Is Owen Grady supposed to be cool, or— Oh my god, he just snatched a bug out the air! Owen Grady's a badass! Claire's request for Grady to come help with the Indominus is complicated by the fact that these two apparently went on a date one time, and it did not work out well, because she's too uptight, and he's so loosey-goosey. What an interesting and unique character dynamic to have. Good thing this movie always has the park itself, which includes a kids area that's literally the greatest thing I've ever seen. Look at these kids riding a triceratops, petting a gallimimus, hugging an apatosaurus. Oh my god! Too bad Zach's a freaking goober and isn't impressed with anything he's seen so far, save for that one chick he saw on the ferry, or that one chick he sees on the train, or that one chick he sees in line for the gyrosphere. Actually, yeah, thinking back to my high school days, this checks out. Sounds like a real teen boy. He sees an opportunity when Zara is distracted on the phone with business shit, so he and Gray run away from her to have an unsupervised park day to themselves. They head to a Mosasaurus show, where Bruce the shark is fed to the giant aquatic prehistoric beast, who's not technically a dinosaur. It's a mosasaur, obviously. The resulting splash is impressive enough to get a smile out of cynical Zach, even though it didn't have boobs. And the kids are even more blown away after the bleachers are lowered down to let the audience see inside the tank. A fun visual that Steven Spielberg himself suggested. It's pretty cool, but we're not done with cool stuff just yet.
Hey, you wanna see something else cool? Yeah!
Then check out the all-new Mercedes-Benz GLE Coupe. Yeah, that's literally what the movie cuts to after that line, because half of Jurassic World is a commercial. Stepping out of that world-class vehicle is Claire and Grady, who have just arrived at the Indominus pen. Grady reacts to the dinosaur's name like I did.
The Indominus Rex.
After Claire admits to Grady that she doesn't know exactly what kind of DNA is inside the Indominus, they run into a problem when they see that there are no thermal signals being detected inside the pen. Between that and the claw markings that Grady finds on the wall, it looks like this Indominus has escaped the paddock. So Claire races through the jungle in her stylish yet functional GLE 450 AMG Sport and calls the command center to put them on high alert. But when they look for the Indominus's tracker, they see that it's still in the cage. That's bad news for Grady and these other dudes who are inside the pen checking it out. Or at least bad news for the other guys. This movie's not about to kill Chris Pratt. But when that Indominus Rex reappears, it shows that it's fine killing non-character employees like this guy Ellis, who's snatched up by the Indominus. After a nice off-screen crunch, we even get to see some of the feeding sessions. Solid first kill, J-World. Grady bolts for the closing pen doors and makes it out of there just in time, but after briefly getting stuck in them, the Indominus also breaks out of the paddock. Grady watches from beneath a Jeep as this guy Nick is exposed to the designer dino and very promptly eaten from a seated position. Hey, at least he was sitting on the ground and not a toilet. To hide from the admittedly very cool looking I-Rex, Grady gives himself a fuel line rinse to ward off both smell and, heat, I guess? Seems unlikely to cool down a body's thermal pattern, but it works well enough and the Indominus pieces out to go see what this Jurassic World place is all about. Although the I-Rex is now on the loose, park owner Masrani says they need to collect the asset quietly instead of warning the park guests about the danger, because I guess this hippy-dippy dude who didn't care about profits before is now fine with risking lives for the sake of his park. And so an ACU squad, that's Asset Containment Unit, suits up and gets ready to kick some asset. Let's briefly check in on Claire's nephews, who are riding a train while the Gallimimus Stampede from the original is turned into a tourist attraction. Which is not a criticism, by the way. I think That's friggin' great. Gray tells his older brother that he's figured out their parents are getting divorced, because that's a fun thing to keep bringing up in this dinosaur adventure film. Seriously, why does this subplot exist? I want to see this little kid cry from terror, not from his family's failure to stay together. Grady shows up to the command center to watch the Indominus reacquisition mission happen in real time. The ACU gets out of their high-powered Mercedes-Benz G63 AMG 6x6 and heads off into the jungle. That's where leader Hamada finds a piece of dino damage on the ground. Looks like the Indominus tore out its own tracking device. This must be one smart dinosaur. And guess what? It can also camouflage.
It can camouflage!
It can indeed. Time to up the shit out of this kill count, because we're adding 8 bodies to the list right now. First is Hamada, who's thrown down and stomped on in a real Cartarian way. Next is a couple of troopers who are whipped and thrown against tree branches. Their deaths confirmed by the aliens-like monitor that shows all the soldiers flatlining out of the movie. Another trooper's crushed by a tree, turns out his name was Lee. 2 more get their bodies broken by a tail whip. 1 dude is tossed up and eaten by the Indominus, showering the camera down below with CG blood. And as everyone else makes their getaway, the last casualty bravely fires at the beast until he too gets snapped up. That could have gone a little better.
Evacuate the island.
Claire and Masrani refuse to do that because, you know, money. But Claire does agree to order all the guests back down to the southern part of the island. The order goes out too late to reach Zach and Gray though, because they've already headed out in the Gyrosphere, which is probably this movie's most interesting and iconic new addition to the series. Inside the Gyrosphere, there's an extremely tram tour type video starring Jimmy Fallon, you know, doing his Jimmy Fallon shtick. Too bad the movie didn't get cordoned for some gyro karaoke. As they take the big hamster ball through a herd of herbivores, they get a message warning them that the ride is over and they need to come back ASAP. But in an enormous park safety oversight, these kids are able to just take control of the ball for themselves, so they just keep rolling, yeah, straight down the Dino Highway. Claire tries to call the boys, but, you know, ball reception, so they get disconnected. And instead of taking her phone call as a sign that something's wrong, Zach gets the bright idea to take the ball through a restricted gate and down into the dino jungle, right up to a herd of ankylosauruses. Ankylosauruses are a known dino delicacy, so in no time at all, the Indominus Rex comes around for some fine dino dining. It kicks the ball out of its way as it chases after the Tankosauruses, and one of the armored herbivores hits the Gyrosphere with its club tail. The boys watch from their damaged ball as the Indominus kills the Ankylo boy by biting its head and snapping its neck. Then it turns its attention to renowned Canadian sketch comedy duo Kids in the Ball and punctures the protective glass with a nail. It has a harder time when it tries to bite through the ball, and during its struggle, the boys manage to get out of the capsule and make a run for it. The I-Rex chases them out of the trees and up to a waterfall that they jump over to escape from the monster's jaws. The I-Rex eventually gets tired of waiting for them to resurface and leaves. You kids are lucky that thing doesn't have any killer bee DNA. By this point, Claire has recruited Grady to help her look for the boys, but instead they first find a dying Apatosaurus in the movie's only use of an animatronic dinosaur instead of CG, and boy does it look good. Stan Winston would be proud of Legacy Effects, the company that made this dinosaur head and was founded by his former employees. It's such an emotional looking dinosaur that when it dies in front of them, the Claire model business bot finally sheds a tear. She might not want to look over that hill then, where there are 5 more sauropod corpses lying in the sun, completely uneaten.
It's killing for sport.
They track Zach and Gray's footprints from the broken Jimmy Fallon ball to the waterfall diving board, where Grady tries to send Claire back to the park because she shouldn't be out in the jungle in those heels of hers. In response, she gives herself a quick sporty makeover and insists on coming with him to find her nephews. Said nephews find their way through the jungle to an abandoned door, and it turns out to be the old visitor center from the first movie, only, you know, a little bit reclaimed by nature now. They take a torchlit tour through the movie audience's nostalgia and top it all off with some goggles that are probably heavy, meaning they're expensive. Put them back, Gray. Then they find a broken down Jeep.
You remember when we fixed up Grandpa's old Malibu, right?
Yeah, kids, fix this decrepit jungle Jeep. That shouldn't be difficult at all. Hey, look, it's working! It's working! They drive off right as Grady and Claire get to the old facility. That is some shit timing there, y'all. The Indominus Rex also arrives at the facility, breaking the roof with its face and chasing Grady and Claire back out into the jungle, where Claire calls in the I-Rex's position to the command center. Masrani decides to play the hero and fly a chopper on his own to get that dino, which would surely upset his stockholders if they knew of this shit. He flies to where the Indominus is, near the aviary, and his chopper shoots at the dinosaur until it crashes through the birdhouse and starts scaring a whole bunch of pteranodons and dimorphodons. The pterosaurs escape out of the broken birdhouse and fly up towards Masrani's chopper, and you know that ain't good. His gunner falls out and gets friggin' air speared by a pteranodon, while another beak pierces the windshield and the co-pilot. Masrani stays alive just long enough for his bird to get knocked around and fall crashing through the roof of the aviary, where it spirals down into a big fiery explosion that kills the park owner in a suitably undignified way. The hole from his chopper allows pretty much all the other pterosaurs to escape and fly out into the wild, which kind of begs the question of why they bred these flying fuckers in the first place if they pose that much of a flight risk. As the boys drive their Jeep back to the theme park area of the island, we begin the scene that everyone was so concerned about me kill counting, even though I'll show you it's not that hard. See, all the guests are currently stuck in the downtown Dino Land section of the park when in flies that giant flock of pterosaurs, who start tackling into and occasionally grabbing the guests as they try to flee. But here's the thing, nobody's actually getting murdered. Yeah, some people are injured, some glass gets broken, and this one dude is pecked at on the ground. But the only things I see getting killed for show are these two margaritas Jimmy Buffett grabs. Zara tries to do her job and watch over the kids as they run through all this chaos, but for her efforts, we get the most mean-spirited kill of the franchise after she's lifted up by a pteranodon and passed around like a football. It'd be one thing to just kill this character off, but instead the pterosaurs drop her into the Mosasaurus tank, then proceed to dive bomb underwater so they can snatch her up and give her a dino baptism, dunking her repeatedly until finally the Mosasaurus gets tired of all that ruckus and rises up from the water to shut both bird and human up with one big mighty snap. It's an excessive death that probably should have been reserved for Hoskins, but instead went to the beleaguered assistant. But she's the only death here, y'all. I went through and scanned the background repeatedly and saw no other confirmed kills, even though this rowdy Dimorphodon tried to add Grady to the count when it landed on his back and attacked him. Claire rescues Grady with a gun butt smash and a whole bunch of tranks, and then the two have a real awkward middle school dance looking kiss. It probably looks so weird because director Colin Trevorrow and Chris Pratt didn't tell Bryce Dallas Howard it was gonna happen. She was completely unprepared for it, and it shows. In any case, Claire's finally reunited with her nephews, who are gonna spend the rest of this movie telling us how fucking badass Owen Grady is.
Can we stay with you?
I am never leaving you as long as you live.
No, him.
Yeah, definitely him.
Did you kids not just see a minute ago when your aunt tranked that Dimorphodon up like she was rolling effing tembo? With Masrani dead, Hoskins makes his move and takes over the command center with his new InGen team of private security guards who arrive via helicopter with a bang, or at least a gunshot. Poor Dimorphodon. Hoskins wants to take the Raptors out for a military field test and use them to chase down the Indominus Rex. Claire and Grady find out about it and roll up so Grady can punch Hoskins in the face and impress these kids some more. But face punch or not, Hoskins assures Grady that this plan is going off no matter what.
With or without you.
So Grady reluctantly agrees to lead a team of InGen dudes to go hunt down the Indominus with his Raptors, giving them the scent of the designer dino with that hunk of flesh they found in the jungle. After he introduces the Raptors by name to the kids, the movie assures us, in case we've forgotten, that Owen Grady is real fucking cool.
This one's called Blue. She's the beta.
Who's the alpha?
You're looking at him, kid.
Oh, he's so fucking cool and alpha. But the kids aren't that alpha, so Claire puts them in the back of an armored truck to stay safe inside during the mission. With one overacted button push, we're off. The Raptors run out into the jungle with little velocicams on their heads, giving a video feed for everyone else to watch on tablets. Owen Grady rides his motorcycle among them like he's part of the pack. And for once, I actually believe that this dude is a legit badass. Do more of this, Jurassic World. Show, don't tell.
Your boyfriend's a badass.
We know, we just saw. You don't have to tell us. The Raptors end up coming to a halt when they find something, which ends up being the Indominus Rex, who steps out of the trees and stares the Raptors down. Then they start talking to each other. Yo, can we get some subtitles up in here? I don't speak dinosaur. Despite the language barrier, Grady comes to an understanding.
That thing's part raptor.
And apparently this new alpha just told the rest of the crew to go destroy all humans. The soldiers open fire on the Indominus, but not even a rocket launcher can put it down for good, and it just runs away into the jungle. That's when Blue and the betas make their move. In a scene that's way too Call of Duty for my liking, a total of, I believe, 7 security guards are killed by the Raptors. It's kinda hard to tell, what with all the broken video feeds and grainy night vision footage, but that's what I'm going with, 7 dudes. Cool. After the slaughter, Grady runs into Charlie, who doesn't kill him right away. Shame I don't count dinosaurs on the list though, cause Charlie gets blown the fuck up by a missile launcher to end that heart-to-heart. I'm kinda sad. These Raptors are adorable, even if they are killing machines. Back at the Raptor pen, a soldier with a bloody hand shows up like, get the fuck out of here! Before he gets pounced on and killed by Delta right in front of the boys, adding yet another nameless soldier dude to the list. The Raptors chase after the armored truck in an uninspired dino chase scene that bored the crap out of me, especially when it just repeated the side view mirror shot from the original for nostalgia. It ends with the boys boys electroshocking a raptor off the back of the truck, and Owen joining them on his bike so they can all drive away to safety. They head back to downtown Dino Land and into the Hammond Creation Lab, only to find it's been evacuated. And apparently, as revealed in a shady phone call, young innocent Dr. Henry Wu from the first film has been working with evil Hoskins the whole time. Henry, what would Hammond say?
Push. Push.
Yeah, that's right. He'd probably just say push, push. As part of the deal, Wu got a big paycheck to take home on his helicopter off the island, while Hoskins and his team got some primo dino DNA to use for the military. Hoskins tries to give a bad guy monologue to our protagonists, but he gets interrupted by Delta coming through the door. Delta corners him, and his pathetic begging doesn't do any good, because she snaps his hand, probably clean off, and as our heroes run away, she mauls him to death just off screen behind some equipment. A real simple death compared to the drawing and quartering of Zara earlier. But Delta is still acting feral and chases Grady, Claire, and the kids through the Innovation Center. On their way out, Grady is all like, "I choose you, Dilophosaurus!" And it works! Delta is confused. Our heroes run outside only to be cornered by Blue and Echo, who are shortly joined by Delta, who wants to join in all their Raptor games, like Monopoly. Grady musters up all his dad's skills and reaches a hand out towards Blue, and Blue responds by being chill enough for Grady to remove the Velocicam from her head. Grady's a big advocate for Velociprivacy rights. Then the Indominus Rex shows up because it's the end of the movie and it has to, but by now Blue has an understanding with Grady, who has become the alpha of the pack yet again. Blue goes to defend Grady with a scream, but she gets knocked aside by the I-Rex with ease. Grady gives a whistle that sends Delta and Echo jumping into action against the Indominus. Too bad they prove to be no match. Delta gets bitten and thrown straight into a burner that incinerates her, while Echo is just bitten and thrown off screen. As the kids hide in a merch stand, Claire sets out to even up the match a bit. She runs to a paddock and tells Lowry to open it from the control room. After some minor pushback, he does, and when Claire ignites that road flare, you know what we're in for. It's the motherfucking T-Rex! Rexy specifically, the one from the original film, and Claire leads it in a Goldblumian way, only, you know, in heels, straight to the Indominus Rex, who she tosses the flare at. That sets off one of the best parts of this movie, another awesome Dino Fight! This time, it's the OG Tyrannosaurus Rex against the flashy newcomer Indominus Rex, and they just bang around against each other, snapping at every inch of dino skin they see and crashing through every building in sight. After a while, it looks like the Indominus has the match on lock, but as it goes for the pin, Blue's music starts playing, and the recently face-turned Velociraptor runs down the ramp and into the foray. Again, despite the fact that this is all CG, I think it's pretty freaking cool, man. Just a bunch of dinosaurs fighting each other, jumping around, getting body slammed. I love it! It ends after they all yell at each other, and the Mosasaurus once again has to ask for some peace and goddamn quiet, so it splashes out of the water, grabs the I-Rex by the neck, and wrestles it back into the giant water tank with it. But because the audience likes both Rexy and Blue, and this movie ain't trying to challenge anyone with moral quandaries, the two dinos come to an unlikely peaceful understanding, and the dino fight ends right there. Grady steps out of his hiding spot, maybe to go give Blue a good belly rub, but Blue is super confused by her own feelings right now, so she runs away, content with all the bank she's about to make off all the merchandising rights she sold. The next morning, Karen and Scott get to the island and find their kids safe and sound, so let's have a round of hugs. Nothing like your kids almost getting eaten by previously extinct animals to really save a marriage. Claire and Grady walk off together in silhouette, another relationship forged out of a stressful near-death situation that is sure to last. The movie ends with Rexy stepping up onto the chopper pad and roaring at the now abandoned amusement park. Quite a dino spectacle. Now, even though I didn't count dinosaurs, will this Jurassic kill count be the biggest one yet? Let's find out and get to the numbers.
It can camouflage!
By my count, 23 people died in Jurassic World, the most of the series so far. The victims were almost entirely male, but did include Zara as the first woman killed in the series, so yeah for progress, right? With a runtime of 124 minutes, we wound up with a kill on average every 5.39 minutes. I guess I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Zara, even though it still kind of rubs me the wrong way, and no, not because she's a woman. It just seems weird to have this put-upon character getting dunked by pteranodons like she a basketball and they a bunch of Air Jordans. Still, it's the most elaborate death, and it's made extra impressive when you learn that actress Katie McGrath did all her own stunts for this sequence. That's just freaking awesome, and it looks like a total blast. Dull Machete for lamest kill will go to the 7 InGen soldiers killed by the Raptor pack, because it's very difficult to tell what's going on there, and I'm not even sure I got the number of casualties right. Finally, Diamond Dino for coolest dinosaur sequence will go to the Dino Petting Zoo. Who said this award had to go to action sequences? Nothing in this movie got a bigger reaction out of me than seeing those kids play with adorable baby dinosaurs. Seriously, listen to this baby Gallimimus chirp. It's so fucking cute! And that's it. Jurassic World came out in 2015 and made a ludicrous amount of money. 3 years later, and it's still the 5th highest grossing film of all time. I can't cover the sequel, Fallen Kingdom, until it's out on Blu-ray. But until then, I'm James A. Denise. This has been The Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching this week's Kill Count. I want to thank a couple of patrons like Ronnie Shires, Gambit, and Nicholas Vargas. That was the longest episode of The Kill Count yet. There was just so much to comment about. Remember everyone, we can all have different opinions about movies, because I know a lot of you love Jurassic World. It was fun to revisit the series. Plus, now I have a whole bunch of dinosaur toys to play with. Or, let's be real, for Lucy to play with. Alright, be good people.